Hello, welcome to CivilNet. I'm at the Center for Contemporary and Experimental Art, and we have a very special guest. Her name is Candace Cable, and she's here from the United States joining us. Thank you, Candace, for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me.
You are here at the invitation of the U.S. Embassy.
Correct.
Right? And you are probably one of the world's leading athletes. You have participated in numerous Paralympics. You are a gold medal Olympian, and I think you have your gold medal there.
One of my gold medals right here.
I was reading about your life's journey and how you weren't born with a disability.
Right, yes. I grew up in Southern California in the 1950s and 60s as an outdoor kid. I loved being outdoors. I loved the beach. I loved hanging out with my friends. But I wasn't a sport person, so to speak, before my injury. I liked watching sports, but I really didn't like the playing of the sports or the confrontation.
And then when you were 21 years old,
Yes.
something changed your life forever.
Absolutely. At the age of 21, I was leaving work one night. I was living in Lake Tahoe, working as a blackjack dealer.
No kidding.
Yes. I know. I was one of those girls with long fingernails, high heels, and tight skirts. I definitely wasn't a sporty girl at all.
Okay.
And I was leaving work with a couple of friends, and they had been drinking. And as we approached the car, I said that I would drive because I hadn't been drinking. And we got into an argument, and I didn't want to argue with them. I really wanted to be friends with them, and I wanted them to like me. I didn't feel strong enough in myself, and I got in the car against all my own best wishes inside, and we had an accident within 10 minutes. I had a spinal cord injury which paralyzed my legs at the age of 21.
Candace, this was in the 70s. We belong to the same generation, more or less, at a time when in North America, talking 30, 40 years ago, wheelchair accessibility, awareness about people with disabilities wasn't really prevalent then. Was it for you?
Well, in 1975, I had never seen anyone in a wheelchair. So once I had the spinal cord injury and I was using a wheelchair, I was so devastated by the fact that I had no pun intended, but no role models. I had no one to look up to. I had nowhere to go for information. I became very depressed, and I isolated myself from friends and family for almost 2 years. I was really, really distraught. And only after about 2 years, I woke up one morning, and the biggest thing I can say is something moved in me, spirit, I don't know what it was, but I said to myself, I don't want to do this anymore with my life. And I may have even seen something somewhere, I don't know. But I went and I got counseling, I got psychological help, I reconnected with my family, and started to move forward with my life. And as you said, there was no accessibility. People had never, they just didn't see people with disabilities. So I got odd stares, people looking at me. It felt really awkward for me. But once I started at university, things got better.
And you threw yourself full force into the world of sports. I read somewhere that you actually started swimming and that you almost drowned, and then you started wheelchair racing and skiing, and now you're a cross-country skier.
Right. Well, I started swimming to regain my health and wellness.
Right.
And I did swimming because I didn't want anyone to know I was in a wheelchair.
Because when you're in the pool, they can't tell.
They couldn't tell. Yeah, I was still so self-conscious about using my wheelchair and being out in society. So at university, I found Disabled Student Services, which was an area in the building that people with disabilities could go and get help. They could get help with getting to classes, they could get help with tutoring, or they could just hang out and meet other people. So once I found my community, I really felt empowered to try some new things. And because I wanted to hang out with them, and I was such a social person, they were doing sports, I started to do sports, which culminated in a 27-year athletic career, because sports really was an easy way to feel good about myself. A really simple way, a sense of accomplishment. Yes, and I had that social piece that really helped me reconnect with the world. And once I reconnected with the world through sport, I really felt like I could do anything. It was so empowering.
Such an inspirational story. just reading about, as I said, your life's journey, now meeting you and seeing this positive energy that you emit. And I know that you do a lot of speaking tours and workshops and you work with people with disabilities. And now you're in the region. You were in Georgia for a week, our country to the north, and now you're in Armenia. You've been in Armenia for a number of days. And, it's strange because 40 years ago, it seems like Armenia is 40 years behind in terms of access for people with disabilities. A lot of the buildings are not accessible. And aside from the physical difficulties, there's also the social stigma here. There's a lot of intolerance that comes from a lack of awareness. What has been your experience so far? I mean, I don't know how you even got into this building.
I got carried up.
You got carried up.
I got carried up into this building, right. Well, in the United States, in the early 70s, when I was first disabled, we were experiencing the same things that people are experiencing here right now. I actually felt like I had gone back in time when I landed in Georgia because it was almost exactly how I felt when I was first disabled. People were staring at me. There was no access up and down the curbs, in and out of shops and buildings. And I did feel excluded. And so for us in the United States, one of the things we did was we created education about disability awareness, just to soothe the fear. Because people have a fear of becoming disabled and losing everything. And what they need to understand is that once you become disabled, well, your life will change, but you don't lose everything. You have opportunities, but the society has to be able to embrace the people. And I think only with education and awareness. The awareness piece is exposure. You have to see people with disabilities to really care about them.
Yeah, because we don't see them.
Right, and you don't see them, it's a catch-22. You don't see them because they can't get outside. And so when they can't get outside, you don't see them. And so why would you care? Because you don't know until you know, right? And so we have to make sure they know. So if we can use social media, technology, sharing ideas back and forth through countries. Armenia has ratified the Convention on Rights for People with Disabilities. That's a huge piece of the equation where they are going to have access to best practices, programs, policies that people are making. One of the themes with the CRPD, the Convention on Rights for People with Disabilities, is nothing about us without us. So any program you plan, any facility you build, any of that has to have someone with a disability as a part of the foundational aspect of it beginning and then all the way through the top. Because only with someone's eyes and ears that's experiencing what is needed will we be able to build an inclusive, universally designed society. That's the end result that everyone's looking for, is a place in the world that embraces everyone. And universal design does that. You know, instead of a round handle that's hard for someone to grip, a little lever where you slide your hand in, and it doesn't matter whether you have hand involvement or not. People who are elderly with arthritis can't hold on to that handle, but they could move that lever to open that door. And when we open those doors, we're opening ourselves to just so many possibilities. It's really exciting,
It's about social inclusion, including all members of society.
Exactly.
To be active. And you know what? If those if accessibility wasn't available to you, we would not benefit from your life story today.
Right.
And that's, I think, the message. I think that your being in Armenia will hopefully serve as a catalyst to raise more awareness because there are many people in Armenia with disabilities. You know, we had the 1988 earthquake that killed 25,000 people and left many, many people with disabilities. And, unfortunately, they do kind of have a life sentence because they're locked away in their homes and they can't come out. So I'm hoping that not only your presence, but your gold medals. And if I can take a look at, because I've never actually held an Olympic gold medal before.
Speaking of Paralympic, I met a woman today that was in that earthquake who was paralyzed by that, and she's a Paralympic champion. And I met her when we were speaking together, the Paralympic committee and myself, and we had the Ministry of Youth and Sport there.
Right.
We had people from physical therapy and physical education talking about some ideas. And I have to say, my visit here is a catalyst for me to take back ideas to the United States about how we can all collaborate and work together. You know what's happening here with the Center for Contemporary Experimental Art, the U.S. Embassy of Armenia, this Life Without Limits. It's a perfect title. I absolutely love it. I am so attracted to it, this Life Without Limits, because it's for everyone. It's not people with disabilities
it's for all
or
of
those
us.
people. It's
Right.
Life Without Limits for all of us.
Right,
all of
because
us.
sometimes limits are up here too.
Exactly, and I think more times limits are up there. And that is where our journey goes, our path goes. Where we need to head is to really change the way we think, open our perception, try something. You know, one of the things I like to do with people is do a little guiding demonstration where I have them blindfolded and I guide them so they can feel what it's like. They feel what it's like. I think programs like that could be super beneficial here because the Armenian people are open. They're really open to new ideas and they're eager. They're very eager for new ideas. And I see tons of new ideas popping up all over the place. It's almost like spring has sprung here.
It really has. Well, you're a shining example of a person who goes by the motto "Life Without Limits." It's been a real honor for me to meet you. I don't know. I mean, I think I will take away a lot from my meeting you, and I hope that all the people that you meet and all the people that you inspired will be blessed by your presence. So thank you, Candace Cable, for...
Thank you. It's my pleasure. I feel like I'm in my purpose. I'm in my bliss when I'm able to share some ideas that maybe spark something and someone can take it away. And the opportunity that you're giving me right now to share this message with so many other people, I am so grateful. So grateful for this opportunity.
Thank you, and I guess I have to give you back your medal.
I'm sorry. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for watching CivilNet.